Got a PlayStation 5 here. This one has a basically like a 1 second blue light of death, so it'll beep and then shut off right away. Figured this would be a good video to help other people. Yeah, I have the UART already set tagged in here. I got it connected. Now when I run the codes on here, we use the coder software here. Awesome software. Donate to them. Buy them coffee. I donated. But yeah, if we're gonna run, we run codes on this. So we'll go 1, and then we'll go comp 5 or number 5 because I'm like comp port number 7. If you're using this tool, you're gonna have to know what comp port it's on over here. So that's what we're getting right there. Basically, that's the code C0020303. It's basically saying APU is not responding. First thing you want to look for on these systems is remove the liquid metal from the APU, because you always got to get a habit with that, because I sometimes don't even follow my own habit. But remove the liquid metal, make sure you look under a microscope or something, magnifying glass, and make sure you don't have any cracks around the corners of the APU. So yeah, if we go to turn this on, see it powers up for 1 second. You see now it's going to power up. We'll see when it shuts down. See there, it just shut down. So it lasted longer than 1 second. So I don't know if you want to count that a 10-second white light of death. Let's try that again. Five-second white of death. So white light of death. I don't think I've ever even really, you just see it not power up, you know, like it did first. I'm trying to make it do it like it did before, just 1 second blue light of death. 5-second white light of death and a 1 second blue light of death. I'm just saying the codes can help you, because you don't really come across this issue that much, but I have came across it and I haven't made a video of it, so I figured it'd help other people out. Now we're going to go back here, we're going to read our codes, see if we get anything different. Same thing, alright, so that code right there. So this code should be updated. Now at that point, you know, you want to check all your voltages, make sure you got all your voltages. If you got all your voltages, then proceed onto thermal camera, see if you see anything out of the ordinary, especially with the RAM chips. So you want to kind of look at the RAM chips and see if one's not glowing hot enough or one's really heating up right away instantly and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at, we'll just go underneath the thermal camera and look at it, see if we can spot anything. So I'm going to close this down. I'm going to clear the codes. Well, no, there's no point. So we're just going to exit out of this. Now I'm going to hook up the thermal camera. Yeah, by the way, don't mind my mess on my bench. Alright, you ready? Oh, the RAM chips look like they're powering up pretty good. So yeah, nothing's pointing out that would be shorting out like a cap or something. That all looks about normal. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the micro lens on. What we're going to do is we're going to go around the RAM and have a close look at it and see each boot sequence, how it looks. Okay, now we're going to try powering up. Yeah, that one looks about normal. This one has a little paste on it. That looks about normal. Alright, shut off. Go to the other one. Now that one did take a secondary. You see how it didn't evenly heat up on that one? So I'll mark that one kind of like, you gotta have a closer look at that one. Alright, I'm gonna try it one more time. Power it on. Yeah, you can see how the secondary, the second bank inside the RAM on the bottom, you can see how that takes a while for it to boot. We'll try it again. So that's suspicious right there. Now we're gonna come over here to this one. Same thing with that one. Alright, we'll come up to the top one here. Yeah, powered up. It's kind of hard to get this in camera because of the refresh rate of the camera. But you can see how this one boosts up a little bit more. See how that looks like a normal boot. Now we're going to the second one over here, the top. Power it up. We'll try it again. Yeah, this one's very suspicious right here. You guys see that? Let's see the top bank. So the top of the chip here, you can see it takes a while for it to boot. Like it's not getting all the power or something. Like the other ones on the bottom, you can see they're kind of like a little delayed. But they might be having issues too, but here, let's try this again. See the top of it? You see how the top is kind of cooler and the bottom. Try that again. Yeah, see that's way delayed versus the other ones on the bottom. Yeah, I think we have a problem with that one. Alright, we'll move to the second one over here, and then we got one more left. Power on. Activated at the same amount of time. Yeah, see how they engage at the same time? Alright, we're gonna go to the last one over here. Okay, we're gonna power it up. Yep, and see how those engaged at the same time too. Let's try it one more time. Yep. So that's a good RAM. Now, it's this guy over here. I'll point to it now. So this one right here. Usually this one or this one normally faulty. Or sometimes they just need reballed, but you know, they break basically broken solder joints underneath, not making connection with the board, oxidization after time, especially as the older system. So these tendency to have a lot of cold solder joints underneath them. But we'll take a look under the thermal camera there. That's the one we're looking at. We'll just go back and we're just going to look at it again. I'll power it up. That didn't even last that long. So it's the blue 1 second light of death. Yep, see, it won't even power up now. Now, I just was touching this area of this RAM chip, right? To show you guys. So there we go. Might have found the culprit. Now let's look at, so remember I was just touching this one? Now look at, see how it's powering up. Well, now it wants to stay powered up. Alright, we'll come back. Well, me putting force over here on the board. See, it's not even 1 second. So you can see the system, watch. Shuts off. And it's kind of weird, it's like almost a white light. And then it's a one second blue light of death. So anywhere from 1 second to 5 second white light of death. Now, let's test our theory. We've seen that under a thermal camera. Now it's not powering up enough to be able to power it. And this is what it was doing for the customer. It was doing blue light of death, 1 second, would just beep and then power right off. Instead the fan would kick on and then shut off. So to test our theory, what we're gonna do, since we think it's this RAM chip or these two, I'm going to apply pressure on this RAM chip right here and see how long it'll boot for. Okay, we're going to power it up, applying a decent amount of pressure. Feel the heat. There we go. We went to a white light. We're booting. So it's probably going to rebuild his database. So I'm going to keep holding this. Yep, it's rebuilding. Ah, it's getting hot. It's just rebooted. And it's the RAM is processing data. There we go. There we go. It's booting. I'm going to remove my finger from this RAM chip. See how long it stays on. Just tap the area. See how I just tapped it and it shut off? So honestly, I'm thinking this RAM chip is fine. I'm probably just gonna replace it with another one, so I don't have to take the chance. But technically, I could reball this one. We should do that. Just reball it. I'm kind of curious. I bet you when we pull this up, we're under a microscope, we're gonna see that these pads are oxidized under here. So what we're gonna do is take this out of the board. I'm gonna come back to process of removing this RAM chip from the board, and then reballing it, and then putting it back on there, and then we'll see if the system boots up. So I'll be back after I do that. I got the board ready to pull off the RAM chip here. So we'll just put some flux around it. We'll have to add more, but I tried to take it all clean off and do a clean lift. Unfortunately, that kind of sucks. Yeah, there's a lot of pads oxidized on this side. There's some flat ones. There's a flat one in the corner over here. We'll take a look underneath the microscope. See if I can switch to the microscope for you guys. So you can see that that pad is flat right there. And we have, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pads on the right there. You can see those are all flat right here. So these are all flat, so that was probably not connected. Which there's important ones right here. And then we have the corner one over here. So let's just take a look at the RAM chip. You see how there's no solder on those pads? So yeah, there's no solder on those pads. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then here at the top, you can see there's no solder on those. So those weren't making no connection. Is that from the factory, or is it just cold solder joints moving the system? And you can see to follow the flat points. So that's why when we were applying pressure to it, the system was booting, and then just by tapping the RAM chip, it was breaking connection. So it's a common issue on the PlayStation 5s. But yeah, I would have liked to done a little bit more cleaner lift, but what we're going to do is we're going to wick this up. Alright, we're going to come in with some Flux. Just going to go over with leaded solder. Alright, then we're going to come in and wick it. I'm going to clean it real quick, just a little bit. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and we're going to wick up the pads. Just letting this get up to temperature. Alright, that's about up to temperature. We'll come in with some hot air. Just helps with this process. Alright, we should be good. We'll take a look under a microscope. Yeah, you can see we got all the pads wicked up. All nice and flat. So we didn't use no wicking, so therefore we're not going to tear any pads or scrape the board. The RAM to be reballed, so we're going to use the same RAM chip. We're just going to reball it. So I'll come back when I get the jig set up. So I got everything to reball the RAM chip. I got the stencil, the jig, the stencil over here, and we got some solder paste. See, now those pads took some solder. I'm gonna come over it one more time. Now with this I'll wick, because most likely you're not going to tear pads off a ram stick. Alright, good. You can take a look under a microscope. See, the pads are all wicked up. So now we're just going to clean it. There we go. There's a couple. It just doesn't really matter. We're using paste. We're not using balls. We're going to put our stencil down on top of this. And we'll just get it aligned pretty good. Hold it down. Put this on this big magnet. Move it just a little bit. Alright, now we're just going to come in with some paste. And grab some of this. Look at that. All that flux, the oils. I'm just going to grab some of this. I'm just going to dry some of that flux up. It'll absorb in the paper. So I just have it set at 150. About right. You just get it to your liking and see how the paper absorbs the flux. I don't know why the camera's not focusing, but so that should be enough. Just going to fill up all the holes. I'm not trying to create a mess with it, so it's taking my time. Yeah, because if you have too much flux in it, then it's just going to boil up, not seat down proper. Yeah, I say that's good. Then we're going to turn our temperature back up. And you're going to want to definitely pre-warm this. So I just heat up the whole stencil, or else it's going to buckle on you. So we'll preheat it and then we'll come in for the kill. Yeah, you can see it kind of somewhat getting shiny. There we go. Just gonna add a little bit of flux. Sit down, there we go. We got it to sit down. Alright, we're gonna let this cool down. Ooh, hot, 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 hot. It's kinda hot, hot. There we go. Yeah, he's kind of hot. Get it heated up just a second. Flux will evenly spread across. Alright, we're just gonna hold this down. Alright, that's all good. Yeah, I see two pads that join together, unfortunately. That sucks. That really sucks. I don't want to reball it. Hot, hot, hot. Those tweezers are hot. Yeah, we have two balls that joined over here. Get a really good zoom in on it. Yeah, those two pads. Dang it. I'm gonna put it back in the board holder for now. Then what we're gonna do is question. Should I try separating it, or wick them up? Yeah, could place balls down, but what to do? What to do? Yeah, one tip. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to join it to the other one. I don't feel like reballing it just for 2 balls. Alright. We'll just delete those. Come back with this stencil. And now we got tons of flux on here. Out of here. So all we need is those 3 paths. Sorry you guys couldn't see that. Let's see. Yeah, so see I got them filled. So I'm just taking the excess out of the other ones. Alright, now we'll just come and preheat it up again. Yeah, I don't know if that happened when I applied the Flux and preheated it or heated it up again. Kind of wondering. I'd have to look at the video. All we have to do is really focus on that area. Get the stencil up to temperature. There's way too much flux. Should be good. I mean, yeah, you could have reballed it. But usually if it's a couple pads like that, it was what, 3 pads? Well, it was only 2 joined together. Made one big ball, but then the other one, we just knocked it off with the soldering iron. Heat it up a little bit. Alright, there we go. That looks a lot better. These were the balls right here. So we're just going to reflow this again one last time. And then we'll give it a nice cleaning with Rapid Clean technology. Still don't got enough on that one pad. How did we miss that? You see that little guy? I'm gonna have to it's going to be a little too much paste. Alright, we could add a little bit more after that. Let's just heat that up on there. Yes, I know. It'd probably be easier just to reball. Alright, we just need a little bit more. Yeah, I probably should have just reballed it. Being lazy. That should be good. We'll see. Yeah, we just need a little bit more. Just want it to be even. I mean, that would probably work. Alright, that's going to be perfect. One last try. That's good to go. See, it's the right height now. Yeah, I should have just reballed it. Alright, we're going to let that cool down a little bit so we don't shock it. We're going to clean it. Just give it a scrub real quick. Alright, so that's pretty clean, but you can see we got a little bit of fibers and stuff. So what we'll do is we'll come in with Rapid Clean technology, patent pending. We got our Rapid Clean technology, designed by QSTECHSERVICE. And we're just going to come in, give it a nice cleaning. Alright, there we shouldn't have any particles now. That would contaminate our placing the chip down. So if we have a look at the chip, you see how clean it is. So we got our nice reball there. We used our rapid clean technology. So this is ready to be placed on the PlayStation 5 motherboard, so I'll come back at that. Yeah, RAM module. We got that reball. So now we're just going to place it on there. Place this down, get the corners even. Alright, that looks about good. We're going to come in and we're going to preheat. Go slow. Once we get it to stick down a little bit and it's not going to fly away, then we can add a decent amount of flux underneath it. So I'll put my heat sink over here. I'm just going to heat this up just a little bit. Get any flux warm underneath there. Come in with the rapid clean technology. Alright, that's good. A little too crazy over it. We just need to clean up all the other flux here. Alright, we are good to go. We have our RAM reballed. We didn't replace it, we just reballed it. Chassis up here, we got our RAM module that we reballed. Have to remove the stock tape. And we're going to see if this thing stays powered up. this in. Plug that in. We'll put our clamp on. Remember, it would get the 5-second white light of death and then the 1 second. And then when we did apply pressure to this, we did get connection and the system fully booted up. And the reason why is because all those pads were oxidized. I mean, they weren't even connected. So we'll just screw this down. Alright, the moment of the truth. Does it work? Power on. Okay, moment of truth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, staying on longer than 1 second. There we go, we got a white light. It's going to rebuild the data system. See if we got picture. Plug in an HDMI cord. You guys ain't going to be able to see this, unfortunately. I don't have it hooked up to my capture card. See, it just reset, so it's rebuilding the database. And then we got our second beep, 2 beeps. And there it goes. It says it wasn't shut down proper. Press OK. So we're golden. So that APU code, I'm gonna have to send that to Coder, and he could probably update the database, because it was this RAM module right here. I got a picture here. It's fully booted. Customer playing Call of Duty. Like the only game that he has on there. Up to 5 seconds with the white light of death. And then after it went boot fully, we went over with the thermal camera and looked at the RAM modules, how they were booting up, how the sections of the RAM chip, you know, because there's 2 sections inside each of the RAM, and by the thermal camera we could see that these 2 were kind of like doing the same thing almost, but they were faster at powering up. This one was delayed big time, which you noticed in the video. And so we knew that was kind of maybe the key point right there, so we went and applied pressure to this and the system fully booted up. So that's the recap of it. We took the module off, the RAM module, and we seen all those pads that were oxidized and not even connected, and therefore that the APU couldn't communicate with that RAM, which was causing it faulty from not starting up. But we found that out by just applying pressure, and then it would fully boot. We reballed it. We didn't even replace it, we just reballed it because it looked like it was a good RAM module stick. It just, I kind of figured it would be cold solder joints. And that's one of the ways you go around applying pressure to each RAM stick, trying to boot it up and see if you have an issue with it booting up. But hope you guys liked the video. If you guys get a chance, give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel and you guys want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching.